Access to God. That's a very profound concept, but it's access to God that allows Christian Mandalas to work. We're going to do a quick review on this topic using some more of that award-winning animation I promised you. The Day of Atonement, also called Yom Kippur. So we go back to the days of Moses. We begin with the tabernacle, which is sort of a mobile temple. In the holiest place inside the tabernacle, behind a curtain, is the very presence of God. We also have the nation of Israel, God's chosen people. There's a law. Sometimes people broke the law. There's also a high priest from the tribe of Levi. The first high priest was Aaron, the older brother of Moses. The role of the high priest was very important. His purpose was to bridge the gap between the people of Israel and God, that gap that came about as a result of the law being broken. The Day of Atonement came one time per year. It was the holiest day of the year. It was a very special day for the people of Israel, a day when all their past sins would be forgiven, a day when a comprehensive act of atonement was made for the entire nation. Preparations were made by both the people of Israel and the high priest. The high priest would change out of his high priestly garments into the more ordinary garments of a priest as a sign of humility. A bullock was sacrificed to provide atonement for the high priest and the priesthood. A first goat was sacrificed to provide atonement for the sins of the nation of Israel. Without the shedding of blood, there could be no forgiveness of sins. The priest with the blood sacrifice made multiple entries into the Holy of Holies, into the very presence of God. Is he going to live? Is the sacrifice going to be accepted by God? This is high drama. A second point of high drama takes place when the high priest confesses the sins of the nation onto a second goat, the scapegoat. The second goat is taken out into the wilderness, never to be seen again. So now let's take a look at the work of Christ. The argument made in the book of Hebrews is that Jesus is a new high priest on the order of Melchizedek, a priesthood which is greater than the Levitical priesthood. Because Jesus was sinless, he did not require a blood sacrifice. For the sins of the people, all people, he became a blood sacrifice. He also takes on the role of the scapegoat, taking on the sins of the people. Jesus is then both the superior high priest and the superior blood sacrifice. The work of Jesus achieves a superior result. The law is fulfilled, and we enter into a new era of grace. I accept the work that Jesus did on my behalf. I'm forgiven, and I am completely cleansed of all my many sins. The Holy Spirit takes up residence in me, giving me access to God. Paul explains this in 1 Corinthians. The text is so profound I will read it completely. These things God has revealed to us through the Spirit, for the Spirit searches everything, even the depths of God. For who knows a person's thought except for the spirit of that person, which is in him? So also no one comprehends the thoughts of God except for the Spirit of God. Now we have received not the spirit of the world, but the Spirit who is from God, that we might understand things freely given us by God. And we impart this in words not taught by human wisdom, but taught by the Spirit, interpreting spiritual truths to those who are spiritual. And so the takeaway is that we Christians are very privileged. We have access to God. Christian Mandalas are a tool to help us fully utilize the access that we have to God.